my first memories of my father probably him putting me to bed at night and singing to me. I mean, my dad had a terrible voice, and I've got a terrible voice, but he would sing to me every night, and he'd sing "Puff the Magic Dragon" to me, and I never forget that song.
And one of my early memories would be sitting under my dad's chair. I'd be about 3 years old, and Dan Dare would be on the radio, be frightening the life out of me, and I'd be messing around with my dad's football coupon, because he never won Saturday night. And next to me under the chair would be Smithy the cat. Next to Smithy the cat would be Rex the dog, and next to Rex the dog would be Charlie the goose. I lived like that for a whole year. Come Christmas Eve, my gran says, Charlie's got to go. Well, my dad takes the goose out into the yard. Stupidly, they'd given it a name of Charlie by that time. Looked at it in the eye, couldn't do it. So it died of old age. I think it lasted 7 years. It lived in our house for 7 years.
My dad was a bank manager, and I didn't see him a lot in childhood years because he was working, and he had gone to work before I got up in the morning. I was in bed before he got home, so we only really saw each other at the weekends.
Things used to annoy me, like with Christmas presents. I think my father, he never actually used to wrap anything up or was never involved in the buying process. And it's one of those things that actually used to quite annoy me. And of course, it's one of those things that you change when you actually grow up and have your own children.
I heard people call out names to him, racial abuse and things like that. But he'd just smile, and if he had, if there was any discussion, he'd just be very polite and talk to them. And that was a real sort of, challenge to me, and also, a learning experience to me that, you don't have to sort of be fighting back or be abusive back, And he was like that all the time, and to anybody and everybody, regardless of how they were to him, he would always have that smile and that good word to them, and I thought that was great.
I remember on Clapham Common there was about a foot of snow, and it was so cold we went over and all played snowballs. But it's one of the few times I think my dad spent time with me. I don't think he ever played cricket or football. We never went fishing, because work in those days, nearly 60 years ago, it was all about work.
Daddy helps me to make the plants. We're trying to grow raspberries and tomatoes and carrots. And this week we're trying to plant lettuce.
My best friend in all the world is my 83-year-old dad, who still gives me pocket money. I think it's his way of saying, you'll always be my son, although I'm near retirement now. He's saying, the age difference doesn't matter. And we have become best friends. He's almost like a brother more than a dad. And I say he's the best friend I've ever had.
I often remember Mum saying that it would take Dad 1 or 2 days to wind down before the holiday could really begin. But I think, right from the start, he'd be singing songs in the car and really, he'd be winding down his window shouting to people, "I'm on holiday," as we were on our way, which always made me laugh.
I tried to be more involved with the children right from a very early age, and I think that bond that I have with them is probably closer than the sort of bond that my father had with his 3 children.
At the end of the day, all they really want is your time and to be able to spend time with you, and that's sort of more important. So if you can get home early from work rather than doing overtime, that's what they'll remember, and that's what they want more than being get a PlayStation or whatever.
You live a carefree life, and all of a sudden you've got responsibilities, and you look at this little bundle of joy and a pretty little thing, and you think, that's really mine, And with my 4 children, a couple of times in my life I woke up in the night and I thought, I'm the only breadwinner in this family, and sometimes that is quite frightening. Everything revolves around me bringing in the money.
I always say this to anyone who's about to be a dad, just that first moment when you hold your new daughter or new son, you cannot beat that. That moment is just absolutely awesome, and I think I'll remember it for the rest of my life.
It's all about experience, essentially, and you just hope that you don't make those same errors that you perceive your parents have made, and that in actually attempting to be a good father, you actually do it for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. So it's love, commitment, assistance, and you hope you do those in the right way and not the wrong way, and for the right reasons as well.
Who is going to be responsible for the way your child grows up? Who's going to be responsible for that? I think they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. You know, that's just fact. Your child is going to be like you. So, you know, put in as much of the good of you as you can, because they're going to pick up some other stuff as well. So put in as much of the good stuff that you can, because you only get one shot.
I'm very pleased to have had a family. I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
I love Daddy because he makes porridge for me.
It's really given me a buzz, really, and I'd recommend it to anyone.